had people who were like, what, you're married? People who've been following me for years and are like, wow, he's probably so amazing that you chose to marry this guy. And I'd be like, thanks. People knew something was up. Do you know what I mean? Like many of you, I'm someone who essentially in my childhood was set up to fail in life. I had a mother who was a teenage single mom who hated children but still kept having them with various loser men, and taking her anger and mental illness out on us. And when I started coming into my beauty as a woman, she began to get jealous of me and try to give me advice that would sabotage me, to try to ruin my self-confidence, to try to make life as difficult for me as possible, right? A life that I didn't ask for, right? The reason why they act like this could be numerous things, right? The thing is, it doesn't matter, right? When someone is treating you poorly, when someone has shown that they do not have good intentions for your life, you don't keep them there. God has put a purpose on you, whether you believe in a religious God, whether you believe like me, in the nature of something, right? Something put an energy inside of a little plain brown seed to make it one day become a beautiful cedar tree. But there are people and forces that are going to try to get in there and destroy it for whatever stupid reason. And once you become aware of that, it's your job to nurture your seed of goodness, to nurture your greatness and excellence, and keep going forward in life, because that is living rightly with nature, right? For you to try to succeed, for you to want the best for yourself and to become a good person, it benefits society as a whole, right? Interacting with someone who's confident, who's empathetic, who shares freely, who's also a good listener, who has knowledge, who has good humor. This is a pleasant experience, right? This adds goodness to the world, right? So even if you were just doing it for that reason, it's worth it. And you can't do that if you are attached to forces of any kind that are trying to destroy you. That's the game of life. That's the video game of life. How can you get through the obstacles and keep leveling up despite what this world is trying to throw at you, okay? Because it never ends. But that's not the harshest lesson that I learned. That was something that I think I knew intrinsically. I was always kind of reading books about psychology, books about relationships, spirituality. I was trying to figure this stuff out, and I was avoiding men and relationships with men and sex. And I'm so glad I did that, because looking at my mother, I saw the negative consequences of, dealing with pregnancy, these losers hanging around you. And I don't want any of that. I still don't. That's a goat, by the way. This is the harsh reality that I needed that marriage that I was in, that some of you saw here, that to teach me, I had people who were like, what, you're married? People who've been following me for years and are like, wow, he's probably so amazing that you chose to marry this guy. And I'd be like, thanks. People knew something was up. Do you know what I mean? And realistically, we wanted to be together. We had, planned kind of a life together, and it seemed like it would work. We had a really great friendship and communication up to the point of marriage. There were signs along the way too, that I chose to ignore or to think that could be worked on. But after, being married for a year, just after talking and asking and, going for therapy and couples counseling and reading and trying to understand and everything else, it got to the point where I realized that the core issue I was having was that I believed that he was going to see what this was doing to me and want to make a change, and then be able to make that change. And I realized that this calling was not for him, right? This is what we do in relationships as people. We externalize our unmet childhood needs onto another person. There is one time in our lives when yes, it is appropriate to expect that people are going to notice your needs and then do whatever they can to meet them. That's, like when you're a child, when you're a baby. You just cry, someone hears you, and they do something. But if you don't get these needs met, you may grow up later in life expecting that other people are, one day, somebody's going to notice your needs and decide from the goodness of their heart to try and meet them. And to be fair, this has actually happened to me a few times. One of them was when I was in the hospital with a nurse. Things like that I will remember for the rest of my life. But ultimately, when we become adults, we have to learn to recognize and stand for and fight for and go for our own needs, right? Your boss is not going to say, you know what? I think I've been overworking and underappreciating you. Yeah, I've decided you're going to get a bonus this month. You know what? You deserve it from all this work you, but you know what? I had a look at the salary market and I'm not giving you enough money. So here's a raise on top of it, right? That's not happening. Your landlord's not going to say, hey, this apartment that I rented you is perfectly clean. It's in good shape. You've paid your bills every single month on time in cash without complaint or issue. You know what? I'm going to be fair and give you your deposit back without any issues, right? That doesn't happen. And your partner, they're not going to say, damn, you have really put up with a lot. I have a lot of issues that I didn't deal with before I came into this situation. I kind of hoped it would work itself out, but it hasn't. And you've been beyond patient. You don't deserve this. I'm going to go and do whatever it takes to work on myself so that I can stop hurting you because I can see how it's affecting you. Oh no. Oh no. So the person that you need to see your needs and make a change, the person that you're begging and pleading for their attention, it's actually yourself. I realized, why am I sitting here begging and pleading for this guy to treat me well? I need to beg and plead to myself to take the right action and leave. And that's what I did. That's the thing about relationships, these romantic relationships. Sometimes we only learn what we need by looking at what we're upset about not getting, right? There were some things that I didn't, I would get into a relationship and I'd be like, wow, we have all these things in common. We communicate well. We seem to be solving problems well. We have a similar lifestyle. I didn't recognize the things that I really need in a relationship, right? Like, I need to be with someone who's on my level emotionally or even above. Gosh, wouldn't that be great? I need someone who has, street smarts and social awareness. But ultimately, another thing that I think I need in a relationship is a healthy relationship with myself. That is something I haven't had my whole life. It's even been hard for me to discern what my needs are. I grew up the eldest in a single parent immigrant home. So I was the surrogate mother, I was the father, right? I was expected to, be a little slave, have no needs or wants of my own because that was selfish. And so how do you then become an adult who's like, yeah, this is what I need. This is what I like. This is what's best for me. You can't. Most people in this day and age have absolutely no idea. They're raised in these family systems, and then you're put in these schools which try to structure you into becoming a factory worker and obeying rules. And you become an adult, and one day you kind of wake up and you're like, I don't know who I am. I don't want this life. I'm very confused. So I'm very happy and blessed and grateful that I have the time and space to do this work and this research. It's not like you learned in school. Well, you research a paper, then you write it, then you hand it in and you get a good mark. This is an ongoing thing. This is a painful thing. This is a thing that some days My personal growth and development is good, and some days it's bad and I regret things that I've done. And I try to regroup the next day, the next morning, always like, how can I be better? How can I handle things better? What is good for me? And ultimately better for this society, for this world, for this planet. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know about your journey in the comments below. And thank you so much for those of you who are starting to turn in reviews from my books. Gosh, these are like my life's work that are going into these books. Um, I'm so blessed and grateful. I used self-hypnosis to unlock writer's block. Wow, how amazing is that? I'm going to be talking more about that in the future. That is the thing I really feel has made the biggest difference for me. And I'm still looking at a way to bring the method I discovered to all of you. So, yeah, let me know any questions you've got down below, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now. Back again today. I have added lip liner to the lip color I had in the previous video. Tell me if you like this one better, okay?